Okay, we're back live again. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Looks like the headset that I was using, it wasn't establishing a connection. So therefore, when I was using the microphone on that, it you guys can hear the audio. So hopefully you guys join back in, and if you guys do, let me know if you guys can hear me. So, all right, I see one person coming in here. Comment a thumbs up if you can hear me, or thumbs down if it's if the audio is still messed up. Just let me know. Today's not starting off to start off good. So I can pop out the chat if I wanted to. I got a thumbs up. Thumbs up so you guys can hear me. I'm gonna type it too just in case the microphone's not working again. Oh, sounds great. All right, cool. Whew. That's probably the headphones I was using. Maybe the wiring got loose, and so there wasn't like an established connection with. You can hear me clear? Cool. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. All right. So first thing I want to talk about is all this craziness with all these different posts from different sites, basically teaching people how to delete their Facebook over the whole issue regarding the data that was shared from one company to another. It was your Facebook data, and a lot of people are starting to do the same thing like it did last time. I don't know if you guys remember the panic last time when they were like, someone decided to actually read what permissions the Facebook Messenger app required, and two of them one was camera, one was phone, and so they were like, "Oh, they're going to be spying on you." So they were like, delete Facebook Messenger because it's going to be spying on you, and they had this whole mass panic. Whereas people needed to understand that those apps required one connection to your phone or permission to access your phone, and two, permission to access your camera, because Facebook Messenger allowed phone calls and video calling. But everyone went on a wide panic, and it's happening again right now. Like, I see like so many posts talking about it right now, like people jumping ship, deleting their Facebook account and heading over to Instagram. And Instagram is owned by Facebook, and I'm like, okay, what would be the major reason that people would jump ship to Instagram, and what for? Deleting their Facebook and all that other stuff. So that's something that I thought was like, it was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy that people are going that route. So, I mean, what do you guys think? Let me kill the alerts on my phone. That was kind of annoying. Like, do you think? Well, first of all, what do you guys think about the Facebook data being, being tied into all kinds of things? One of them too being the whole presidential election thing and conspiracy with Russia. I say conspiracy because we don't have like full-blown proof to just throw out there. But what do you guys think? Like, are you guys looking to possibly delete your Facebook? Or, in that context, are you guys looking to do that? Are you guys looking for a different social media? And if you guys are looking for a different social media, or if you guys found a different social media or social networking site, what social networking site or which one are you preferring to go to if you're going to delete your Facebook? Or will you continue to use Facebook? Facebook data really got out of control. I'm half tempted to delete it if personal info is getting tossed more, if not already. Okay. Kind of understand that. So I guess like the whole idea for me and the way that I felt because people were like, delete your Facebook and all this other stuff, and I'm like, I mean, yeah, of course, you don't want your stuff being shared or given away for other purposes. I mean, you created a Facebook profile, you upload photos to it, you type your posts to it. But I still live by that rule that nothing's sacred on the internet. But yeah, I see where you're getting with it. You are tempted to delete it, and I think a lot of people are too. And it's really more of, like, let's say, like, for some people it's a scare. They read media posts that teaches you how to delete your Facebook, and you're told about all this issues with your data being collected and shared, and immediately right away they jump into it. At the same time, too, I don't think a lot of people really did the research to see exactly what happened and how this happened. I think one video that best explains it was dropped by Android Authority, I think like a day or two ago, where they kind of just went into what went wrong, what happened, and how all this played out. But if you are tempted to delete your Facebook, what social networking site or what social media site are you looking to replace that? Because one thing that is known is that we now, and I mean we as all of us, are addicted to social media. R&B Tech. How are you doing? I'm doing fine. A little under the weather, a little sick again, and that's just because it's constant shifting of the weather. So the weather gets warm and it gets cold, and it gets warm and it gets cold, and it's just messing with me. Like right now, I feel like my head is going to explode. So I'm like fully congested. So took some medicine for it, and hopefully it doesn't make me drowsy. Wouldn't it be something to just have like a live broadcast and then the medicine kicks in, I just pass out sitting right here? That would be like, one, it would be embarrassing. But two, it would be like, yeah. Yeah, me too, man. I hope I get well soon too. Yeah. Is there a social media or social networking site that you will consider going to if you decide to delete your Facebook? I'm pretty sure the government can get your information from other social sites. Yeah, of course they can. That is absolutely true. And technically, they don't really have to, because we end up giving stop smoking that thing. No, they they don't really have to get your info, because like we share info like it's nothing. So they wouldn't have to like do some sort of espionage to hijack all your info and everything like that. But people share everything so randomly. I mean, they will share their location, they'll share what they're eating, they'll share what they're doing that exact moment. Today, to try to get out a lot of information based on people, it's not, you don't really, like, if you're the government, you don't really have to try. They share it. We share everything. I don't use Facebook. I don't like all the random friend requests, and it keeps messaging to a friend. Oh, to friend a stranger? Yeah. Well, Chad, what do you use for social network? I mean, what is your favorite one to use? Is it Twitter, Google Plus? What can it be for you if you feel like sharing things? What's your favorite social networking? And two, how do you guys feel about Snapchat? Because Snapchat has been in some controversy, and I thought it was pretty funny Just all the stuff that happened with it, and their net worth dropping and all that. That's been also pretty crazy too. When I found out you can't delete Facebook, I freaked out, man. Oh, it's like Big Brother wants you under the thumb. I mean, you can. It just doesn't delete right away, like you want it to. Like, you would really have to contact the Facebook support and just kind of argue with them and see if they can actually manually delete your profile like immediately. But you can set it to delete. It's just the way that the deletion works is that you set your account to delete, and then you cannot access the Facebook account in 90 days. So for 90 days, you cannot log in at all. Because if you accidentally log into your Facebook, then you pretty much you just stopped the deletion. And you would have to go back into your settings in Facebook and go back into your account settings and then hit the page to delete, and then it's going to take another 90 days. So, I mean, yeah, Facebook makes it hard for you to leave because if you delete your Facebook, you got to wait 90 days for it to actually delete. And then if you do that and you accidentally access it, well, then your whole deletion that you set up in progress is reset. So you have to go back in and redo it. So you have to wait another 90 days from the point that you just re-accessed your Facebook page. It's ridiculous. I miss the old days like MySpace when you deleted it and then it was gone. Yeah, MySpace. MySpace was so long ago. But yeah, if you deleted your MySpace account, it was gone. Like there wasn't no 90-day waiting period or anything like that. So, and MySpace to be honest, MySpace to me was a little bit, I mean, yeah, it was just weird because you can set up like how your page looked, all kinds of different things. So it was more customizable, I guess you can say. And yeah. So it was like, I don't know. It just seemed more friendlier. You had like a little music player where you could put like your top choice of music. So when people came to your page, they could listen to music that you like to listen to. So MySpace, it's completely gone since, what was his name? That dude, Tom, sold it off. And was it Justin Timberlake bought it and tried to revamp it. And then it just didn't work out. Especially, Facebook caught so much attention, so much steam behind it. So it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy, just like where MySpace went and the death of MySpace. And maybe I'll make a video just talking about MySpace and how it fell. But Facebook is kind of facing that same thing. And it's funny, too. I laugh about Facebook and everything because Facebook for so long wanted to buy Snapchat. Like that was one company they wanted to acquire that wouldn't sell to them. And so they took Instagram and added in features that Snapchat was based on into Instagram for people to use it and be able to have those same features with something that Facebook owned. And it's quite ironic that Facebook is like going down the toilet. A lot of people are jumping ship, going to different social sites. But at the same time, too, Snapchat, just from two celebrities posting that they were upset with Snapchat, they lost I think it was like $800 million in company net worth. And the owner of Snapchat, he lost $150 million on his worth. So it's just funny that the two companies that kind of rival each other are both going down at the same time. The retro social media back in the day. Yeah, MySpace. The MySpace, it just, I mean, man, gosh, I can remember so many things about those days. You would write posts. You would have a collection of like, if you were poetic, you can write a poem and have it featured on there. So it was just like MySpace and Neo. Hold on. What would you think if Facebook did buy Snapchat? Would it work? If Facebook bought Snapchat, I honestly feel like that it would just have been tied into Instagram more. What we have with Instagram and Instagram stories and everything, they would have done that. They would have kept Snapchat as it is. I think Facebook would have incorporated maybe live broadcasting in Snapchat, which is something that I felt would have been beneficial for Snapchat, because Snapchat has a lot of influencers. So like we as content creators on YouTube, there are people that are famous off of Snapchat, like off the snaps that they make, the stories that they put together on a daily. And so I think that what Facebook would have done was they would have incorporated live broadcasting in Snapchat. Maybe they would call it Snap Live or whatever they would have done, but I know they would have went that route. And that would have been beneficial for Snapchat, especially with its influencers, because there's a lot of them that use it on the daily. There's a lot of content creators on YouTube that use Snapchat as like a personal vlogging area for people to see what they're doing on a day-to-day and follow their stories and watch what they do. Snapchat has a lot of good things. I know that one of the major issues that people are so mad at is like the UI of Snapchat. People are still mad about how it is. I personally don't see anything wrong with it. I dig the fact that they separated like a friend side from a side that had like things you were subscribed to. I didn't like the discovery area. So probably the only thing that I would say personally that annoyed me was because it just had all these different companies that were in the discovery section of Snapchat that I really didn't care to watch their stories, yet it was mixed in with people that I subscribe to that are influencers on Snapchat. So I would have to look for all their stuff. So I'm glad that with the newer updates to Snapchat, they actually kind of fixed that problem. They made it to where your influencers is what you saw on the discovery side. And then at the bottom would be other popular influencer profiles like MTV or whatever. And you can choose to watch them and subscribe to them on Snapchat or not. You could actually click and be like, anything relevant to this, I don't want to see. And it would go away. But I think that's what Facebook would have done with Snapchat, is they would have just literally like brought in live broadcasting like they did to Instagram Live, and maybe ran it as a separate app, or maybe try to infuse Instagram and Snapchat together and just like come up with something totally new. Who knows? But both companies are going down. So that's kind of just like break away from the whole Facebook thing. And do any of you guys own a Nexus player at all, or ever had one? It was kind of sad to see that they just recently posted that it's confirmed that the Nexus player will not get Android 9.0 or Android P. My Nexus player is basically sitting at Oreo right now. It was updated to Oreo and it's been on it for quite some time now. Kind of sad it's not going to get any more software update support. Maybe security patches, but not like actual update support. So kind of sad to see it that way. But it still works just fine. I still watch Netflix from it, and I still watch Hulu. I still play games on it. I have like 2 game pads for it, so I can download some games from the Play Store and play it on there. I think one game that I'm playing right now is I think it's called Wolf Among Us. Kind of like infuses fairy tale stories into like a very dark atmosphere world. I mean, yeah, with Facebook and that stuff going down, I honestly feel like that it'll do some good for people to kind of get out of being stuck in the whole atmosphere world. Vape God, do some tricks. No, I don't vape to do tricks, Nick. I appreciate that. I'm no vape God or nothing like that. I'm no champion for it or no expert. I just vape. I've been off cigarettes for almost 5 years now. So, and this is what did the trick for me. Player Unknown Battleground. That's what you're playing right now? That's cool. I hear a lot of people talking about that. Maybe I'll give it a try on the second channel and play a little bit of it, just kind of like see what the whole hype is behind it. But yeah, it's kind of good that social media is being attacked right now and kind of going down. I think people need to pay attention more to what's in front of them in life than Facebook is going down. Yeah, there's with the whole scare of your collected data being shared for not for the best purposes or best intentions. Like I haven't played it. Wouldn't work on mobile data. Oh, okay. But anyways, so we are on the brink of Google I/O and with Android 9.0. So at this point right now, I mean, it's pretty much obvious that a lot of OEMs are going to start doing the top notch to try and deliver a near all bezel-less display. And so they're going that route. And I did post a tweet and I posted a poll on Google Plus talking about the notch and how people felt about it. And then the fact that Android 9.0 will have support for a top notch, because there are devices that already have built a top notch into their device and went with an all screen real estate. So I think like what the Asus Zenfone 5, I think 5X or 5Z, it's 5Z. Looks identical to the iPhone 10. And then there were rendered leaks of the LG G7 Neo having a notch too as well. So with that coming into play, how do you guys feel about that? And do you guys feel that the Pixel 3 will adopt this look and feel and bring a notch with basically housing the proximity sensor, the front-facing camera, the speaker receiver? Like, how do you guys feel about that? Because me personally, I feel like there's more that could have been done, maybe a different style. Do you watch them Facebook horror-inspired movies? Do I have a favorite? Maybe like Facebook-inspired. Like, are you talking about like what's that movie with the girl that adds this creepy little girl who happens to be like possessed by like a witch from another world, or she is a witch, and because that girl is like completely stalking her, she unfriends her and finds is like being like attacked spiritually. Yeah, okay. I think those movies are like trying to push people to, like, with those, I mean, maybe I'm reading too far into it, but those movies to me kind of seem like that they're like trying to be like a metaphor for like, too much of something good could be something bad, or too much of something fun could be something bad for you. Never mind the whole witchcraft and all that other stuff behind it, but just the fact of like what possible things could happen, because there are crazy people out there in the world that are like that. You can like see one person that has like maybe 3 or 4 friends and be like, oh, this person needs a friend, and they friend requested you and you accept their friend request, and all of a sudden they're showing up at your front door. They are literally watching everything that you're doing. They're like watching where you check in, and they're going to the same spots. I mean, I think those movies are intentionally trying to open people's eyes to the dangers of social media and social networking. I just think they put it with the context of having a good story behind it, so they won't lose people's attention when watching it. And I could be wrong. The director could have just been like, "Oh yeah, let's take Facebook and make a totally scary movie out of it," and that was it. Who knows? But yeah, I feel like that they have some sort of good on it, what they're trying to teach. So. What do you think about them, though? And then, too, for like a lot of people that are now discovering Google Plus, what do you got to say to those people? Because like for the longest time, I've seen a couple of people that I know that were heavy Facebook users that stopped using Facebook and they started using Google Plus. And I'm like, I'm happy to see you here now, being active on your Google Plus account. It's absolutely crazy. But anyways, going to Android 9.0, like what do you guys think about it? About these top notches and all this other stuff? Because there's like a lot of people that are pretty upset. They're mad at the fact that they don't want Google to shift and do the same things that Apple's doing, which I agree. I think Google should stand alone. I really think that Google should just do them and not try to be like Apple. I mean, I know that they acquired HTC's development team, and they're basically their job is to construct and build the Pixel devices going on forward. But I think that Google should be themselves and listen by their slogan. Be together and not the same. That has always carried water with me when regarding Android and Google, just for the fact that I like the fact that the company that is not afraid to be different from everything else. So if they want to be different from Apple and other major tech companies, then do it. Build the Pixel 3 a certain way and make it stand out. Dare to be different. That's really what from the earliest conception of Android and what I've seen in the early infancy days of Android is what really drew me to them. And it's the reason why that I've never used an Apple product for a phone or for a tablet. I've never bought an iPad. I've never owned an iPhone. It's not that, that I hate on Apple products. I don't. It's just the way that they go about things, their ecosystem and everything is not something that I am that I look at and say, oh yeah, I want that. Like having to go run everything through iTunes. I'm not one that likes that. So I don't want to have to, put my music and movies through iTunes to get it onto my phone. I don't like my phone exactly having the same thing as the next person, So, I mean, I know with Android, there are different OEMs. And I'm fine with that. I mean, yeah, the downside and the pain in the butt side to it is that, when it comes to software updates, it's so fragmented. And that's something that I'm willing to deal with versus having the same type of hardware, same exact software look and feel as the next person, whether they have the newest device, last year's device, or devices from 2 years ago. I don't like that. So, with Google doing what it's doing and a lot of OEMs trying to bite off of Apple, that just seems pretty sad. I hate being sick. So I'm hoping that there will be something different with the latest things coming out for Android and for Google. So I'm real interested in what Google I/O 2018 is going to be about. I think that we'll talk a little bit more about AI built into your Google Assistant, because now Google Assistant can do more. They've been advertising a lot of that lately about what Google Assistant can do and what your Google Home can do now and how to set it up. And they should have some of the basic stuff Apple has, but not copy them completely. Yeah. Yeah, I totally feel that. I just don't want another Apple company. That's really what I don't want. I don't want what Google's doing to be exactly like Apple. That's just, I mean, what's the point? What's the point of being exactly like your competitor? Like, I know in the business world, it makes sense that you would have some things, which is exactly what Chad just posted about. Because, if you think about it, like in the food industry, you have McDonald's, Burger King, Jack in the Box, Whataburger, In-N-Out, Five Guys. you have all these different burger joints, right? They all have something very basically different. One thing they all have in common is that they sell burgers. What makes them different is the recipe that they use to make those sandwiches, and that's what I'm okay with. Google and its Android, and then Apple with the iPhone and iOS. Actually, I have to say Google with the Pixel and Android, and then Apple with the the iPhone and iOS. Two same, right? Similar, but then different in just about every other way. And that's really what I'm hoping out of it. Love those Taco Bell nacho fries. I haven't tried those, but they sound interesting. I've tried. I don't know if you guys have a Sonics in your area, but I've tried the Sonics, the fruit fizz drinks. So it's like soda, but I think the one I tried last night was like the raspberry lemon, and it was really good. Um, I thought it was refreshing. So kind of like weird food. I think one of my favorite places to eat at now that I've tried, and it's really good food. It's a it's a local restaurant that's here, and it was featured in a TV series on the Travel Channel called Man versus Food, and it's a small little restaurant. It's called Los Reyes de la Torta, and they have tortas or like sandwiches, Mexican style sandwiches, and they have one called the King, which literally is good. It is absolutely delicious. Problem with that is that it's a very big sandwich because they have two sizes. They have the regular size, and then they have what they call a mini. And the mini looks huge. That's the one I always get because that's the one that I can come close to finishing. And really, what it's stacked with is like it's got an omelet in there, so it's got like a cheese omelet. It's got a beef brisket or pork brisket. It's got beef, ham, and then like all the fixings. So it's just a really stacked sandwich. I posted a photo of it on Instagram, and it's probably one of my favorite places to eat at. Hey, can I please do more vids on the Moto E4? Like, what do you want to know about the Moto E4? We can talk about that right now. What things are you concerned about? But I mean, that's my daily driver right now. It's my Moto E4 Plus. I end up switching between that and the HTC One A9. I like the One A9. I like its size, its weight, and everything like that. It's just sometimes it depends on how I feel. I go back to my Moto E4 Plus. Heavy phone, but it gets the job done. You stop using the third-party launchers and you're using the old LG app drawer one? Cool. How do you feel about it? I just bought it 3 days ago, and it's pretty good. From your perspective, how do you feel about it? About the Moto E4? The Moto E4, to me, is probably one of the best budget devices released in 2017. Hands down, I give it that. I know there's different variants of it, and I know Verizon had the one with the fingerprint reader, which made people go bananas over it. I have the E4 Plus because it has a larger size battery, so I still play Pokemon Go. I'm a big nerd, so laugh at me for it if you want. And I also play Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, and so having a phone that has a good amount of battery goes great for me because when I go Pokemon Go hunting and drive all around the city, go to different spots for raid battles and things like that, I want a phone that I'm not going to have connected to a power bank. I see a lot of people with their phones connected to power banks, and then I'm just like playing the game just off my phone. So, yeah, I have the LG X Charge also. I did a throwback video to to the LG G Stylo, and I think I'm going to do a throwback video to the Volt series. Yeah, the Moto E4. Right now, I'm debating if I'm going to root this phone and flash ROMs on it. So I did see from XDA's website that there's torque recovery for the Moto E4 Plus, and that there are some ROMs being developed for it. Essentially, the fact that they're trying to develop a 8.0 Oreo ROM for the Moto E4 Plus, which is sad that Motorola and Lenovo are not choosing to update the Moto E4. I mean, they've updated the Moto G5. The different variants of the G5 is getting Oreo, but not the Moto E4. And the Moto E4, being that the E series is the budget series of Motorola. I think that because of all the effort they put into these two phones and how well they function for what they are, kind of pains me and sad that they're not even considering at all giving it a software update to Oreo at least. What new content they put on Yu-Gi-Oh? It is slow getting booster packs. So, like I said, I just recently started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. And I think right now I'm at stage 6, I want to say. So, right now things are starting to pick up. I'm still in the very beginning of the game. I think the people that I challenged in duels are now starting, their level is getting better in a duel. So they're not just putting one card down or everything. They're now strategically actually playing against me. So they'll set a card in defense face down and all these other things. So it's making the duels a lot more, I guess you could say, a lot more interesting and a lot more, not harder, because they're still not hard yet. But it's just making it interesting in duel. And I think right now I've beaten that one guy and gotten that Egyptian God card. Hang on. Let me launch the game here and I'll tell you what it is. But yeah. But so far, the gameplay's been okay. So I think lately, I've been buying all the packs for the Crimson Knight. Hey George, how you doing? Hang on 1 second. It would be completely rude to. I'm sick today, so don't mind me. There's Slifer, the Sky Dragon is the Egyptian God card I have. Oh, I got a new card today and 100 gems. Yeah, so I'm only at I'm at stage 6. I'm level 14 on the game. What's my opinion on the Huawei ban? I mean, what can I say? That Best Buy's not going to sell it no more. You need to download it and fight me. Okay. So I'll type in my username on Duel Link so you can find me, Chad, if you want to duel me. Okay, so Huawei ban. A lot of people, Best Buy banning it because it's a known fact that that the Chinese are spying on us through smartphones that we use. That's developed by them. And let me say this, because Huawei's not the only one that did it. More and more carriers are banning it. Yeah. With the whole thing of the Chinese are spying on us and collecting our data, you gotta remember ZTE has been in this boat. Xiaomi is in this boat. So, I mean, these are companies that, basically all Chinese manufactured electronic devices that you use are going to be in that boat. Why is it like specifically targeting Huawei? And the same that they targeted ZTE for some time. And really, I think it's just more of a business move, right? So we have business dealings more with Korean manufacturers such as Samsung and LG. So it would make more of a sense that they're going to slow down these Chinese manufacturing companies because their devices are way, way, way more cheaper than what, say, like Samsung, right? The Galaxy S9, or even go back to last year's model, the Galaxy S8. And what are you going to pay outright, full price, full suggested retail price for one of those phones, right? You've been paying well over $500 for them, right? And you can get a phone just as good, just as powerful through one of these Chinese manufacturers and pay, a third of what you're paying for these flagship devices from these Korean-built companies. And yes, I know that there's the ability of the Chinese ciphering our data through the smartphones that we purchase from their electronics company. Okay, that's not to absolve that. Sure, they could be doing that. I mean, our own government's doing it anyways with social media, right? So, oh no, you're on ZT Max XL right now. But here's the thing, with everything that goes on the internet, squeaky chair. I need a new chair. With everything that's going on social media, I mean, things being ciphered, your data being collected. There are other things besides smartphones that's collecting your data. If you use like a live streaming app that's well known and well popular in Russia, well, don't you think that they're going to be ciphering your data that way, linking up with your stuff, your profiles when you have to connect your Facebook to it just to create a profile on that platform? There's a lot of things that they always throw out there. China stealing our data, but it's like our data is free. It's out there for any country to steal. All right, China is owning more and more of the U.S. Supposedly, we owe them a lot of money. There's a trick play into all of that. We sold China several major companies that were in-house. Like I think I don't want to say Texaco. I think there was an old gas company. I know Shell is owned by China now, which used to be owned by us. We sold it to them. What else is there? There's like Exxon. I don't know if that's. It's been so long since I've seen this gas company brand, but yeah. Here's the thing, when it comes to that, anything that you put up on the internet is not sacred, and it doesn't matter what phone you're using, because even Motorola is Chinese owned. Lenovo owns Motorola. They bought it from Google, and Lenovo is a Chinese company. So if you're using like any of the, the flagships from Motorola, like the Moto Z2, any of those, you are using a Chinese manufactured device. They can cipher your data through your phone that way. Good morning, love. So with it, I think in the forefront, that's the best way to get people to kind of understand why they're banning Huawei devices, why Best Buy refuses to sell any more Huawei devices. They're going to put, that your data, your information is being spied on by China, right? And everyone's going to panic. But what's the real reason behind it? Well, it's all about business. It's all about companies wanting to stay in the front. Huawei has put out some really, really, really good devices. I still have my Honor 8, which I did a comparison video with that. I think I did it where I had to go up against my Moto X4. And the Honor 8 was a bit faster in processing application responses that I wanted it to open. It even though it's still on, I think it's like 7.0 Nougat, it was pretty quick and it functioned really good. The camera software on it is still phenomenally awesome. So I still like using it to take photos. And my Huawei Sensa, still a really good phone for it being a budget device, still really good. Huawei has pumped out some really awesome phones. And think about it, they were doing the same thing to ZTE when ZTE started bringing in phones that were really kicking the crap out of high-end devices that are well-known name brands. When ZTE started doing that, then they started going after ZTE for different things. They actually got them on something. Morning, love. So it's all about that. I mean, no disrespect to Korea, but when people are like, China's spying, well, what's the difference, if Korea was spying? Oh, let's say like South Korea, North Korea decided to have a mutual sit down and then eventually, merge back to just being one country known as Korea. And they still want to bomb the U.S. Well, we're using devices manufactured by their electronics company, LG and Samsung. They can steal information that way. So, it's at the end of the day, every country spies on each other. That's the absolute truth. If you do your research on Google and you dig up deep enough, you'll know that every company spies on each other. They always wanted to see what the other countries are doing. They always want to be like 2 or 3 steps ahead in case anything was to pop off. But then at the same time, while they're spying, they're being spied on. Because it's, if anyone wants to say that China is spying on us through our smartphones, but not feel like the U.S. government is not spying on them, then yeah, you need to hit the books. Go back to it because we spy on countries just as much as they spy on us. Every country has employed its own set of hackers. I know this sounds so cliched out of a movie, like they have like a room full of hackers and all this stuff, but I bet they do. And all these hackers do is they hack other countries' infrastructures and seeing what they're up to. Like, what kind of weapons are they building? What type of military things are they ordering? They watch each other to see so they can have the 2 steps ahead advantage. But yeah, there's a lot of spying going on. When it comes to us and Chinese spying on our info, what would there really be, something that has to be a threat? Like, oh no, if you were crazy enough to upload a D-pic or nude photos, some dude in China is probably going to see that eating his noodles. I mean, come on, that's like probably like the worst that would happen from like spying on your data on your phone. What would they do? Use your social security number? I mean, this is so true. One way or another, they will grab the data. The data is much more than a cat and mouse game. Yeah, it is. Like the hackers in the Jason Bourne films. Exactly. Countries spy on each other. The whole espionage thing is real. I mean, why do you think people fear and dislike the CIA? What has the CIA done? I mean, what do they exactly do that's beneficial for the United States? Up front, right? Because we hear a lot of things like, what was it? 10 years ago, we got a warning from Iran. Iran was saying that if our CIA operatives keep handing weapons to a militant militia in Iran, that they were going to fire nuclear weapons. Right, our own CIA was arming citizens in Iran to go up against the Iranian government. What benefit was that for us? A lot of smartphones are used by government employees. That's the fear. Right, but do you really think that a lot of these smartphones that government employees use are not like superly encrypted? I mean, come on now. They have a server in the White House bathroom that's like heavily encrypted and holds all kinds of information, emails sent from the president to, whichever a government employee that he is sending information to. That's why the government employs hackers, not only to hack other governments, but also, for them, since they are knowledgeable in this digital world, they would know all basically, the weaknesses in transmitting data back and forth between, different points on what they would need to do to basically secure that transfer. So yes, while the Chinese could be spying on those smartphones, and they could if they're able to hack it, but who's to say that the phones are not encrypted? I mean, I'm sure, just like how we have Hangouts and we have Allo, I'm sure the U.S. government has its own, messaging service that is like heavily encrypted and really hard to hack in order to, get information out of it. Secret Service person text messaging the president, "I'm going out for a taco and a shake." I mean, yeah, it's probably sent through an encrypted messaging service that's only for government use. But I mean, the Chinese would hack that and see, oh, so-and-so's going for a taco and a shake. Even Nintendo is hiring hackers to protect their IPs from being free games on them. Yeah, exactly. BlackBerry are the safest phones out there, but somehow they stopped using it. And that's just because, BlackBerry kind of went down. And think about it right now. BlackBerry still builds hardware, but they use Android, right? And what they brought to Android was they brought BlackBerry Messenger, which is one of their key enterprise services that allowed you to send messaging and have it encrypted and protected, secured, so that no one would get those messages except for the recipient you sent the messages to, right? And that's what I'm saying, that the government has to have a messaging service like that is for them to send info back and forth, whether it's spreadsheets of a certain topic that they're discussing about, information regarding the weather and climate change, or one day I want to go there in vacation. But they have level of protections, and they have hackers to protect them from other hackers. That's all they do, is they hack other countries and they protect our stuff from hackers from those countries. iPhones used to be secured. Now the government broke in due to the terror attacks. Yeah, it is. It is crazy that they were able to do that. But honestly, iOS and its security, the only way you're going to find a vulnerability is if the company allowed it. Think about it. For so long, they were begging Apple to allow them to have some sort of software that could crack iOS and get into it for situations like that, for the San Bernardino attacks, for different things. And for so long, they were threatening to take Apple to court. They took them to court. They wanted all these things because they wanted a backdoor. They wanted a backdoor access for them to get in. So that tells you with Apple how secure iOS was. All right. So now that they're able to break into it, I don't give them props and be like, oh, they finally figured it out and they're able to create a backdoor in iOS and crack into it. No, they had to have been given somewhat of an exploit, and that can only have been given by Apple. So I really don't think that they actually broke into it. iPhone was hacked by an Israel private company. So they say. But think about it like this, right? Because everything that's posted on the news, I believe 1/10 of it. Okay. There's a lot of things you can research regarding things that have happened in the past. I'm not going to throw them out there and turn this into a whole governmental, debate and whatnot. But again, when it comes to these things, there has to be an exploit that's given. Okay. And it could be accessed, to a software that is, built to basically work with iOS. So for instance, smartphones, and we had CDMA Workshop back in the day where this is how we would clone phones, right? The software was developed and was made based upon an exploit that was done with phones, right? So the software was actually designed to work with these phones. But how would it have what it needs to work with those phones unless it was given from the source? So there's always a source file that they can go to get, right? Now, I know that iOS and Apple, they don't share their source files, okay? But it's not to say that somebody, with the right amount was paid enough to give that out. I mean, I know this sounds so weird. CDMA Workshop memories, yeah. I know it sounds so weird to say it like that. It sounds like I'm going into a full novelization of some sort of Tom Clancy espionage type story. But these things do exist. They happen for a reason. take Uber for instance, right? Uber and its self-driving system that they've incorporated and they've been beta testing here in Tempe, Arizona, and in other places, right? They never had that until that one person that worked with Google Waymo actually gave them the schematics of what Google was doing with self-driving. And then Google took them to court and sued them on it because they basically stole something that belonged to them. But it was that guy that gave the schematics of how they were building a self-driving vehicle that Uber was able to implement that. So Uber didn't implement anything on their own. They stole a design. They stole a way of doing it from a company that developed it. And that's what I'm saying is like, maybe, yeah, a private company from Israel built a way to create a backdoor in iOS and crack into it. But someone had to have given them a very key piece of that instrument to make that possible. And money is a root of all evil. I mean, I could work for Apple. I could be a part of their iOS design team and make 6 figures a year developing for Apple. And someone says one-time payment of $1 million, give me this, and then I go and do it, right? So that's excuse me. But yeah, those things happen. Oh my gosh, I hate being sick. But yeah, that's how those things happen. So you can have someone that is willing to give up the goods. But that's like with anything. When it goes back to Chinese manufactured devices, your stuff's going to get spied. But just rest assured that the government has something in place that protects it. We're not that weak. We're not that vulnerable. I think people kind of forget that too. When they hear like all this stuff, like, oh, they could be ciphering information from the U.S. government. We are not that weak, because if we were that weak, think about it. Countries would have rolled in here and took over us. If we were that weak, if we were that, we're at times ignorant, we're at times stupid, because we have elected stupid idiots in office, but we're not weak. So I mean, rest assured, the whole thing with Huawei, I think, is just a whole business standpoint. Like, Huawei is a threat business-wise to other companies out there that are still trying to make their revenue. Huawei can take that away with the types of devices that they're building, the way that they work. I mean, how many people have went crazy bananas over the Huawei Mate S, I think the Mate SE, which is like a little beefed up version from the Honor 7X. I mean, TechRite went out in public in a shopping mall and let people play around with the phone and then see if they can guess how much the phone costs. And I don't know if you guys saw his video. It was a very interesting video. Shout out to TechRite. But people were making some crazy guesses, like $600, $700, $900. And people were shocked when he told them it was like, 230 or 250. I feel that the government should break up the carriers into smaller regional companies like USCC. I mean, like, elaborate more on that. Why would you want the carriers broken up into different divisions across? Big Boss Solid Snake said in Metal Gear Solid 3 how NASA rockers and nukes are the same time. Yeah. That's who you're with, US Cellular? Cool. More competition? I mean, I get what people are saying, we need more competition with our mobile carriers to get better pricing. But you're also, got to look at it like this. They're all about making bank. Every company is about making money, and we're on the dawn of 5G, okay? Every company is racing to get 5G. So prices are going to go up because they did the same thing when 3G was like the normalcies, and then 4G was revolutionary. 4G was faster. Everyone had to have 4G. And what happened with prices? It went up. Data is so much valuable than money right now. Yeah. Well, I use Project Fi, and honestly, I love Project Fi. I mean, I am making a full video about my experience with Project Fi and also the usage of the Moto X4. I think right now, like, Project Fi to me kicks some serious butt. It really does. It puts any carrier that I've used to shame, even though they don't have their own network to rely on. They're using T-Mobile, Sprint, and US Cellular. It still does it better. Google has too much of my info as is. It does. If you're going to use Android, you have to build a Google profile. Knowledge is power, right? So he who has info on everybody in this world can control the world, right? Remember the days when they were microchipping everybody as a way to pretty much, if you became like a fugitive of the state, they could just cut off all connections that you had with your bank account and everything, because everything would be ran through your chip. You would scan your chip to pay for things. You would scan your chip. And I know right now they're in debit cards, and they were trying to make that where they were placed biometrically into your body. Let's say he who controls the world, who has the info of everyone in the world, controls the world, right? And that's one goal. That is one goal that is still today has never really been seen. You've never really had one government, one world government, and one person running the entire world. Never seen that in human history. And it's something that I say is not far-fetched, and that it will continue to be an idea of somebody out there, someone that we least expect. So never put it past. I hate having the sniffles. I'm going to do all this stuff. Dipping off camera here. I mean, everything we do, we're watched on. You got that right. Yeah. I mean, everything that we do, we're watched. Everything that we decide to, to run with is being watched. Everything that, we invest time into is being taken. So, with all that, in the idea, who knows when that'll happen? Hopefully not when I'm alive. I don't think I could deal with a world that only had one government to run us all. I do too, babe. That's why I keep jumping off camera here, because it'd be rude to, take care of that situation in public view. Yeah, it is. And that's what that's something that, I tell people about. Like, I mean, I guess why I shifted tracks on my channel, and, I'm not always trying to portray technology and exalt it, is because I'm trying to help with people finding a balance. There's a balance. I mean, the technology that we have is good. It helps us. And we achieve more today than what we did, 20 years ago. But at the same time, too, if we're always consumed by it, we don't really live a life. Sometimes you have to put your phone down and see what's in front of you and enjoy that day. I think is the reason that it plays into the development of our youth, our kids, the way they act. There are, I'm not, trying to put down anybody, but there are parents out there who are so consumed with Facebook and social media, their phones, playing games, that they literally force, a 7-year-old to grow up way faster than what a 7-year-old should, and make that 7-year-old become responsible for themselves so that they can have the free time to play more games on their phone. That is absolutely sad. I hope I am. I appreciate that. I hope I'm doing a good job trying to, teach balance in between. I just, to be open and honest with you guys, sometimes I do feel like crying. Okay. I know that sounds very pathetic, but sometimes I feel like crying when I see what has happened with society today, where we're at with things, what we find more important. And then people look at me weird, when me and my wife basically, do things with our children that they should be doing, but they don't have the time to, because they make up all kinds of excuses. And one of the big quintessential things that's taken up their time is being in the digital world. So with that, it pains me. It pains me that, a 7-year-old knows more than what they should, that they don't really get to enjoy life as a child and do things that a child would do because they have to grow up faster. They have to be responsible. Like a 7-year-old has to be responsible of his 2 younger siblings, making them lunch or teaching them things that parents should be teaching them. And the excuses of I grew up in a 1-parent home doesn't fly with me, because for me, I was brought up in a broken home, not to put so much of my personal out there, but I grew up in a broken home. I had 1 parent raising me. And so one of my goals when I had kids was that my kids needed to be with both parents. Now, it didn't go the way that I planned it to, because we can't always help and choose what happens, but my children right now, they have me and their mom. And so that's something I made sure that they were going to get, whether they were going to get both parents. Sniffles, I hate it. Maybe they can create some sort of technology to stop the sniffles, like inject your body with micro nanite bots that fight sicknesses right off the bat. Could you imagine taking Robitussin? You have the regular Robitussin DM, and then they have the specially new formulated formula that has nanite bots inside of it that instantly eradicates infections. I see these young kids smoking weed and knowing about adult content. Yeah. No, I get you. Our generation just wanted to use the technology, but these kids want to become the technology. Yes. That is true. I appreciate that, Scott. I really do. So yeah, I think, and that's the most important thing. A philosophy, not philosophy, but a phrase that I heard that I've adopted and lived my life by is that, when you become a parent and you have kids, it is your responsibility to give up your dreams and aspirations so that your children can have one. When you reach that level of having a family, you've negated every other dream that you hope to inspire to get. It doesn't mean that you have to completely ditch them. If it's something that's going to take your family to a better living and a better height, then yes, work on it, but find balance and time to work on it to bring your family up and exalt them to that better lifestyle. But technically, you should be looking out for your children and what dreams they have and help them achieve what they want to become. Because especially at my age, you've done lived, at that point, it's time for you to live for your children and let them have a life. What scares me is that kids in buses playing on smartphones instead of playing with each other. Yes, they don't build social skills. This is why we have, and I hate to say this, but this is why we have kids that do these really crazy things like shootings. And at the time when they're doing it, there's no repercussions to them because everything is built in this fantasy world for them, first-person shooter games and everything. In reality, doesn't hit them until they're sentenced, until they stand before a judge and they're judged amongst their peers, and then they're told they get life in prison or they're getting the death penalty. And that's when it hits them. That's where their fantasized world is split, and then now see reality for what it is. And the reason that they don't value life in that context is because they don't have the social skills to value life. They don't. Everything is fantasy for them. Whether it's playing Call of Duty and being a soldier, they take that same concept and they apply it to their life, and they're like, people hate on me, they're terrorists, I'm going to go and take them out. Just hypothetically speaking, so don't take it fully as gospel. But my point is that they have no social skills being developed because they are so immersed in the digital world. Like today's kids will never know what it's like to be rejected by a girl. Like if you're a guy, right? I'm sure some of you guys remember there's a girl that you really liked, in school, you wanted to ask her out to be your girlfriend, but you didn't know how, right? Because you were like, if I walk up to her and I say, hey, I like you, you should be my girlfriend. That sounds weird saying it, right? And you're like, oh my God, they're probably going to laugh at me. How should I tell her? And you think of different ways to do it, right? And then you get rejected. She's like, no, you're not her type. And you feel that hurt and you feel like you're less of something. but you feel something. That's the main point. These kids today don't. They Facebook message it or post it on Instagram, DM chats or whatever. And the person's like, no, it's like, oh, on to the next one. They never really actually face rejection. And it's crazy. They never will because, there's sites like Tinder that help people find dates. They don't go out and do it the normal way, which is go out there in the world, experience life, and meet that person that's experiencing life with you. Speaking of bots in your body, Metal Gear Solid 4 touches on that topic. You got a lot of Metal Gear references, bro. The hackers use that. That's it. Yeah, I mean, that's a way of controlling somebody or killing them on sight. Sorry to say, but everyone is becoming more and more selfish. Yes, that is true. Those sites are nasty. Yeah, it is. And we're also losing the ability to recognize one another as a human. Like we see everybody, through live broadcasts like this, which, these things are beneficial. They're good and they're bad. The good is that I get to interact with all of you and you guys get to interact with me being wherever you are in the world. Bad thing about it is that there could be someone exactly like me, personality-wise, out there that you could become great friends with that you'll never meet because you're on here. So there's a good and bad in everything, right? We just have to find that balance, and that's really what I've been trying to push for, is finding balance, which is kind of the reason that I ditched buying every phone out there on the market and unboxing is because that kind of goes against what I'm wanting done. I mean, I want to show you guys cool things about phones, what phones I'm using, and why they work great for me. At the same time, too, I also want to be able to help people find a balance between always being on their phone versus just being on their phones when they need to be and then experiencing life for what it is that they should be. That's the difference between. Hey, Max, what's going on, bro? So with that, I mean, I hope, more and more people will put down the phones and pay attention to their kids more and teach them things, teach them how to read, teach them how to ride a bike, take them out for walks to the park, let them experience the world, let them see the world for what it is, see the beauty and everything around them. And Isaac, what's up, man? And be a family with each other. I think that's more important. Like all the other stuff, don't always be there. These kids will flex money and smoke weed to get girls. I mean, it is. I mean, look at all this stuff that's happening today, of different, and the younger generation of musicians out there or artists and what they're doing and what they're doing wrong, the messages that they're putting out. I mean, kids don't have good role models to look up to today. They really don't. I know my oldest son, his role model passed away. He let me know on Instagram immediately as soon as he learned about it. And it was a pretty good role model, which is Stephen Hawkins, which was a sad day when we lost him, But there's not a lot of really good role models for kids to look up to. I mean, who out there today has something very positive for kids, and not positive for the limelight. So I'm not talking about like artists who Instagram live to show that they gave money back to a high school they went to when they were kids. I mean, that you're doing it for the fame and glory. You're not just doing it to do it. I feel like that, like if I was famous, right? If I did something like if I was an actor, if I was a musician or something, if I gave back, to the community, gave back to the youth, there would be no newscasters around me when I do it. It wouldn't be like I would call the news and be like, hey, I'm going to go donate $1 million to this charity fund, or I'm going to donate $1 million to this neighborhood. Like, no, I'm going to go do it without the limelight on me because my goal is to give back. It is not to give back for recognition, but there's not a lot of people for kids to look up to today that will teach them to go down the right path. They say they will. Some will say that they're doing it for the kids, that the kids have something better in the future, but really, like, what are you giving back to the kids? The kids deserve our utmost attention and deserve, all the attention that we can give, and above all the support that they would need to, have a future. That's really what it's all about. So, with that, I mean, I've been on here quite some time now, guys. I gotta go and do the rest of my day. Hungry, I need to eat breakfast. I'm gonna take some medicine. And I thank everybody for joining in on this broadcast and hanging out. And I look forward to doing this again soon. So I'll tweet it out. I think this one was just so random. I just got up and I was like, I'm going to live broadcast today. And so I did that. But I appreciate everyone that joined in and everyone who commented, everyone who gave, their thoughts. That's really awesome. I really appreciate you guys.